We're going to be talking tonight about programs in Long Beach that help support juveniles and young adults. Some of the programs will be for diversion or intervention, and some are for those who have also already had contact with the criminal justice systems. If you have questions during the chat, please post them in, during the presentation, please post them in the chat. We will do them at the end, with the exception of our first speaker, Carolyn Bell, because she actually has another Zoom meeting that she has to go to. So we're going to go ahead and let her do her questions afterwards. But we're going to be monitoring that, and I don't want you to forget them. So write them in the chat when you have them. Our first presenter is Carolyn Bell, who is the Executive Director of the Long Beach Bar Foundation. She's dedicated her career to projects serving youth. The Long Beach Foundation offers an umbrella of interrelated services for youth and their parents. She will be discussing the SHORTSTOP program, the juvenile crime prevention and diversion effort. I give you Carolyn Bell. Hi, Carolyn.
You're muted, Carolyn.
That's the downfall of muting. You never forget to. You always forget to unmute.
It's just impossible.
It is. So I just wanted to thank you all for the invite. It's a pleasure to be here and to talk about what I've been doing and the program that we offer in the city of Long Beach. Like who was speaking, Ms. Eagleston. I have been the executive director for I've been employed with the Long Beach Bar Foundation for 20 years. I've loved working with youth. I've always felt a connection. I guess when I was a youth, people worked with me, so I wanted to work with young people, and I wanted to give back what had been given to me. So I've always loved working with young people. So like I said, I've been there for over 20 years. I've been married for 32 years. I have 2 wonderful young men, which continue to keep me current on what I need to be talking about and not talking about and sharing with young people. So if you're ready, we can, you can give me the ability to share.
I think you can just do it.
So just click on, okay, I'm just gonna click on it because typically when I'm in Zoom, I have to click share, but let's see.
Yeah. Go ahead and click share on your screen.
Okay, well, I skipped that because I thought you said I could just do it.
No, I don't have to let you in. You can just share your screen.
Okay, so let me click share.
And we hope that this will work.
Yeah, I'm not, so I clicked share. I'm just gonna go back out. See if it'll let me share again. Huh.
I can do it for you if you'd like.
Yeah, let me try one more time. I'll click share. Because what I have it just open, and so maybe I would have had to have saved it to something to be able just to automatically share. So yes, if you don't mind, I would love if you would just go ahead and put it on the screen. And then we'll go to the first one. And can it be any larger? Give you a minute, right?
There you go.
All right, so the Long Beach Bar Foundation is the foundation of the Long Beach Bar Association. So you'll hear that a lot and people confuse us quite often. So the association pretty much helps attorneys stay accredited by offering programs. We are their charitable arm, and we are the juvenile crime diversion program of the Bar Association. So this is where the Long Beach Bar Foundation came from, and it was created by the Bar Association. Next slide.
I think you should be able to do that. But if not, here we go.
So just really quickly, we have been in operation since 1994. We are a 501c3 organization. Did I click to the next one?
I did it, I'm sorry.
Okay, that's okay. And so typically we try and serve about 150 culturally and economically diverse young offenders. Our program is for first-time juvenile offenders. We like to reach them on the first level because the earlier we reach them, the greater our success is. And so we want them to be committed to being respectful at home, being committed and being respectful at school and in their communities. And so even if it's a small infraction like truancy or being out past curfew, the earlier we can get them to understand the importance of following the rules, I think the better family situation is, better behavior at school, and the better they're prepared to give back and to do what they're supposed to do in the community. So you can go to the next slide. The Long Beach Bar Foundation is dedicated to strengthening youth of the greater Long Beach community through juvenile crime prevention and diversion, scholarships, legal education, and other charitable programs. So the SHORTSTOP program, we offer 3 programs. Is designed for first-time juvenile offenders. Typically, it's taught at the Long Beach Courthouse by attorneys, and we do a complete intake. And so we'll know what the infraction was, and then we will have spoken with the parents and found out if there's any other concerns that they may have, behavior at school, what's happening at home, how are their grades, and are there any other concerns that they haven't been cited for, but that we could address as a group and with the attorney present. So typically the first night, the attorneys will bring them up. They'll talk about what they were referred to the program for, and they will share the legal consequences to the choices that have been made. We require the parents to be there. The kids also get to hear all the stories of all the other young people. So not only do they learn about their infraction and the consequence, but they get to hear the stories of the other young people. And by having them come up front and be hot seated is what we call it, it gives the young people the opportunity to see what it's like to be in a courtroom, to see what it's like to be cross-examined, and to see how creative attorneys are at getting them to share more than what has been previously shared. We also get the parents talking. You'll be surprised at how many parents are afraid to say certain things in front of the children. But as a group and with the other parents sharing and the kids sharing, it's easier to get the parents to open up and to share their stories as well. Plus, we remind the young people that when you are in court, you do not have a trial by jury option. So quite often it will be the parents' comment and what's been recorded in your files through school and what's following you. So we try and let young people know that the decisions they make today do follow them, you know, through their juvenile age. So we want them to understand that what they're doing now can have an effect on any sentences in the future. And so once they are cross-examined and they're owning their story and they're sharing it and the parents are commenting, after that, they also get a chance to go downstairs to the holding cell. It's not a scared straight, but we want them to see what the holding cell looks like and how the holding cells are even segregated. As we walk down, we'll see signs that say Hispanic, Caucasian, African-American, and they do that because they have to figure out how they're going to be able to mingle. So initially they're separated. So we want them to see that. And then the experience in the holding cell lets them realize their loss of independence and how visitors would have to come and talk to them in a holding cell, and how as much as they love their clothing, how they would lose that opportunity and be put in a jumpsuit. We used to wear jumpsuits. We no longer do that, but we used to take their property and then they would put on a jumpsuit and they become a number for the night, because once they enter into the system, there's no more Jordans and Nike and the clothes that they love, and their names are taken away and they become a number. So we share that with them. And the young people that share their stories talk about how they got started and how it started with defiance and not going to school and maybe experimenting with drugs, and how it led to, you know, further involvement in the juvenile justice system. They also talk about their family life and how it had an impact. But then they share with them the importance of excelling beyond those obstacles and realizing that you have a commitment that you need to follow with your family, to the community, to yourself, and the importance of education. We talk about education as well. We remind them that without an education, the likelihood of dropout rates increasing and criminal activity increasing could be very likely. So We cover the actual infraction, we talk about school, we talk about grades, we talk about their behavior at home, we talk about their behavior at school, because we want to get a full understanding of what's going on, and we want them to understand that they contribute to the situation, both in home and out. And then quickly, we have a counseling program, juvenile emotional management, and we partner with the Bar Association to provide high school scholarships for high achieving scholars in high school. Next slide. I probably could have told you my whole story with that one slide, but go on to the next slide. The purpose of the program is to reduce and prevent juvenile delinquency by diverting first-time juvenile offenders ages 10 to 17 away from the juvenile justice system through law-related education. Our goal is to help them to understand that there are consequences and what the consequences actually look like for them, and hopefully that will be enough to deter them from not stopping and thinking before they make a decision. The program educates participants regarding their legal responsibilities and the consequences of crime in order to guide them away from future criminal behavior and to encourage them to becoming productive citizens. Next slide. How am I doing on time?
You have about 6 minutes left.
6 minutes, okay. So basically that's the SHORTSTOP program. It's taught at the courthouse typically. Then they are given some homework that opens up the lines of communication. Then they come back 2 weeks later and we discuss the homework assignments. We share positive growth. They hug each other, the parents and the child, and they graduate from the program. So let's go on and then we'll go to the, if you'll keep going, we can keep going. So typically the kids come from low-income families. Our largest clientele, our ethnic breakdown is 65% Hispanic, 19% African-American. Oh, looks like he may have, yeah, 65% Hispanic, 19% African-American, and then 16% other includes Caucasian, Asian, and mixed race. Next slide. And just in 2019, there were 159 clients that we served. And it's interesting how the offenses changed. So in 2019, it was about 40 kids were truant, 31 defiant, and there were behavior issues, marijuana, fighting, and terrorist threats. You can keep going. You can keep going. I think that'll be enough for SHORTSTOP, and then we'll just go on into what the gym program is. You can keep going past that. So I just talked about the first session and the second session. Keep going. Then we decided that a lot of the young people were coming to the program. You can keep going. We're coming very angry, and we are a cost-effective solution. If you were just to look at our cost is $125 for the session. If they were to enter into probation or as well as incur the court costs or be a part of the Department of Juvenile Justice, this is what the cost would be versus costing us $500 per family, and we charge $125. So we are a cost-effective solution. You can keep going. A lot of the young people were coming in very angry, and we wanted to go beyond the 2 weeks. Our program is usually 2 weeks, 3.5 intensive sessions at the courthouse, but we started seeing a need for further commitment and involvement with the young people. We saw a disconnect with families. We saw parents that didn't really know how to deal with the children, and children that didn't know how to respect their parents. So we wanted to build on that relationship. So we offer 10 weeks of counseling, and the total fee for that is $100 for 10 sessions. It is a sliding scale fee, and no one is turned away for the inability to pay. And they work on cognitive skills to get them to understand their level of commitment to what needs to happen for them to do better. And then a lot of them were coming in angry at their parents, angry at the teachers, angry about their siblings, just angry. And I said, hey, we need an anger management program. We have to teach young people how to be angry. And I guess this comes from my biblical background, to be angry, but sin not, you know, so it's okay to be angry about something, but you have to know how to channel that anger in the right way. So we develop group management sessions where we discover what the emotional triggers are, and we talk to them about how to constructively handle their emotions. We teach them how to build obstacles to build resistance against the obstacles that they may face. So maybe they're a single parent home, or maybe there's a lot of discourse, there's fighting, whatever there may be, but to find that quiet space to contribute to the peace in the home and to try and not act out in a negative way that could cause more harm than create peace in the home. And so we do that through finding the triggers, and then we have a coach that talks to them about excelling beyond their obstacles. We do a little bit of financial training and budgeting. You'll be surprised at how many young people have no idea about living expenses and the stress that they may cause, asking for things that the parents can't afford, or just wanting things that are just unrealistic. But once we go over that, they kind of understand cost of living and what it takes to run a household. And then we teach them how to find that quiet space through yoga breathing methods and stretching techniques. And then finally in that evening, which is 3 components, we teach them how to relax through drawing and doodling. So that is a 6-week program. We start with the emotional triggers and understanding anger, and then the coaching component, yoga, breathing, and then relaxation through the art therapy. That is our 3 programs. You can quickly keep going. I am sure my time is probably out, but we survive by program fees, fundraising events, etc. If you'd like to volunteer, we do need volunteers. One of the homework assignments that the young people do is they interview a professional in the community and find out what it took to become that. A lot of young people have very lofty dreams, but they have no idea what it takes to become a professional. So they get to be mentored by a community volunteer. We are also looking for new board members. A lot of our board members have been on since the inception in 1994, and we have started moving them down to emeritus status. And that's pretty much it. Our website is longbeachbarfoundation.org if you're interested in just kind of following us and seeing some of our activities. That's my direct email and our address and phone number. And you can also follow us, and I'm not sure why we don't have that on there, on Twitter and Facebook. And I'm sure I've gone past my 6 minutes, right?
It was wonderful. We needed to do it.
Thank you. Yes, so we do have an 85% success rate. So most of the young people that do complete our program, we follow them 6 months and 12 months out just to see how they're doing. In the 12-month, we send them an evaluation, and they have written an I Learn letter to themselves on the night of program where they state where they want to be in 6 months. And they state that I no longer want to be a juvenile offender, and this is what I want to do. And so in 12 months, we follow up and see if they've committed another crime, if they're in school, how things are going, if there's been any behavior adjustment. And that helps us in understanding our rate of success as well.
Thank you so very much, Carolyn.
You're welcome.
It was very interesting. And we'll take some questions now because she does have another meeting. Marissa, can you start asking any questions that came up in the chat?
A question came from Maggie. Are there statistics on how well the shortstop and gym programs work?
Yes, we used to do them through the Long Beach Police Department. We no longer do that. So we do them internally by our internal tracking, and that's how we know what the success rate is, by following up with the parents, have they reoffended, etc., and if there's been any further citations. But as I mentioned before, the kids who do participate, we have an 85% success rate. Those who have completed the program do not typically reoffend. We do get referrals from schools. I see that. We have an agreement with the Long Beach Unified School District where they offer to waive the fees for a lot of the young people that they send to the program. So because a lot of our referrals come from low income, our agreement with the school district is whenever they refer, and that's district-wide, to any of the programs, whether it be shortstop, the emotional management, or counseling, the fees are waived through our agreement with the school district. I was just trying to, I could see the questions, so I was just trying to answer them as I saw them. Did I get all of the questions?
Yes, all the ones that came through the chat.
Well, if you're ever interested in observing the program, I'd welcome you to do that. Our SHORTSTOP program is live in our building now. We are not back at the courthouse yet because of COVID restrictions. We still have not been allowed back. And we are doing a hybrid of services right now. The gym program is via Zoom. And then SHORTSTOP we've just brought back in the office. So we're doing those in our conference room at the building. And we're also doing some video chatting during the class as well. We have some young people that have committed crimes in Long Beach, but they don't live in Long Beach. And to keep them from having to travel hours away, we just experimented with a hybrid session in February, and it worked pretty good. So we will probably be continuing that as well.
Carolyn, you're on mute.
It
Thank you.
doesn't show mute on my end. I just stopped talking because I thought I should.
No, me, Carolyn. I'm also Carolyn.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, I had a hard time with this the whole time we planned, Carolyn. I kept
Okay.
thinking they were telling me. So thank
Okay.
you, Jenny, because I finally muted myself. We all know that for all of us, it takes sometimes more than one try to really get at changing behavior that we want to stop. What happens if somebody is successful in the program and gets in trouble again? Is there a second chance?
So what we hope is our second chance is to offer the wraparound services. So the first time is a short stop, and if they've broken the law and we've dealt with that, they only do the program once, unless the parent says, you know, this I think would really help. Could they do it again? We would consider that, but the next step would be to look at the behavior, and that would be addressed in our juvenile emotional management program. And then if it's still not fixed then and we need more work, then we would refer them to our counseling program. So many years ago, when all we had was the short stop program, that was pretty much it, other than us referring out. Now, because we offer wraparound services, we would provide the other two programs in hopes of eradicating the problem if possible.
Any other questions for Carolyn?
I think I know Alice. Alice, is that you? Hi, Alice.
So both Carolyns. Cheryl has raised her hand. Cheryl.
Okay.
Oh, I didn't see that. Thank you. Cheryl?
Yes, I was wondering, how do you find these kids?
So typically, and it has evolved in so many different directions. We used to get them through the court system, and then it went to probation. And so, and then it went to the police department. So we get referrals now from the courts, from probation, from the police department, and our connections with the school district. And it's particularly great that we have a connection with the school district, because as soon as they see the behavior going left, then they are able to refer the kids to the program. And we also take parent referrals. A lot of times parents will walk in the police department and be at wit's end and say, I need some help. And they will refer them to our program as well. Right.
Okay,
You're on
thank you.
mute, Alice.
Alice, you're muted.
I think she's saying there's a voice problem, but I just wanted to let you know.
Hi,
I see.
Carolyn.
Hi.
I recognized your voice. How's everybody?
Everybody's fine, thank you.
Good. Okay.
Alice
thank
knows
you.
everybody.
I thought that was her. I just wanted to make sure, because it's kind of dark, so I wasn't.
Yeah,
absolutely
I
sure.
closed the door here so it would lighten up. I noticed I was like this black box. I don't know. Okay, good to see you.
You too.
I think Renee has a question, yeah.
Hi, Renee.
Yeah. Have you, do you find there are certain kinds of problems that keep arising that give these kids, that push these kids into unhappy behavior? Is it not having a role model, or kids who maybe want to find a lot of money in a hurry and steal? Or what are the primary, are there some specific challenges they can't meet because of And what is there a way to identify those?
Most of the young people referred to our program do come from single parent households. And, you know, not having the father in the home or having the mom be the mom and the father and work creates problems because there's not a lot of time being dedicated to the children. So quite often the kids will come to class and say, well, it's not me. My mom yells too much. She screams too much. She's too frustrated. So parents are frustrated and overworked, and young people are tired of being victimized per se, and then they make poor choices.
Yeah.
Because they want to make money quick, they make poor choices. Because they don't want to talk about things, they turn to marijuana and they turn to their friends and they skip school and they start doing things that they shouldn't do, which escalates the problem. And so then I always tell them, now you're backtracking. Instead of talking to someone, getting some help, now you've dropped out of school, now you're further behind, now you want to get caught up, so now you have to catch up and keep moving forward, so you've made it more difficult for yourself. So we try and encourage them to talk, to respect their parents, to rely on their parents, because that's how the law requires it. Up until you're an adult, your parents are responsible for you. So why not talk with them? Why not get some advice? Why not create harmony at home so that things will work smoother and you'll get the direction that you need? Trying to get young people to trust in their parents and to believe that their parents truly have good advice for them is really hard for them to understand. They prefer to talk to their friends and go on the internet and get advice from everyone except for their parents first.
Any other hands up that I can't actually see them without scrolling?
No, I think we're good.
Okay, well, thank you again so much, Carolyn. We are better informed for this and we really appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for the invite, and I'll see you all again someday.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Next, we have Utilia Guzman, who is the Youth Services Manager for Pacific Gateway Workforce Innovation Network, administered by the City of Long Beach. She has over 11 years of experience in managing the city's youth and adult employment programs, including budget management and program services. She has managed several multi-million-dollar grants from the Department of Labor. She will be discussing the Gateway Network. And we're going to be taking questions on this one at the end of the session altogether. Thank you, Utilia.
Great. All right. Can you see my screen, the whole full PowerPoint?
Yes, we can.
Great. Awesome. All right. Well, thank you all for having me today. It is a pleasure to be with you all. My name is Utilia Guzman. I'm actually part of the City of Long Beach, also known part of the Economic Development Department. Give me 1 second. Okay, part of Economic Development Department. We are the Workforce Bureau for the City of Long Beach. But in addition, many in the community will also know us as Pacific Gateway. So again, we're very complicated, but ultimately, we do provide not only adult services, but also youth services to the community. And again, all of these services are free at no cost to the public. A second, and I'm late. So we are actually located, we are the Youth Opportunity Center. We're located at 4811 Airport Plaza Drive, and we're open Monday through Thursday from 11 to 6, and also Friday from 11 to 5 as well. So what I want to do, oh, give me a second. I think it's on my end is skipping. I do apologize. Give me 1 second. I think I'd rather keep it this way. All right. Sorry, it's just my screen is going crazy now. So coming in 2023, we will actually have a new standalone Youth Opportunity Center. which is going to be renamed to Future LB. With that said, we will be hopeful that we will both be located off of Magnolia and Willow. And it is going to be a state-of-the-art, really youth center. This center is based on human-centered design, meaning addressing all of the needs that the youth may experience throughout, their youth life, in a sense. So we will be having, mental health services. We are going to be providing services for homeless individuals. We will have showers for them, an opportunity for them to actually, wash their clothes there and sort of make sure that we are addressing their needs. We will be providing a lot of soft skills training and workshops for youth in our community. But not only that, but we will also be providing wraparound services, not only for the youth, but also for the entire family. So this is actually super exciting, and wanted to definitely share this with all of you. But I'll dive in a little bit of sort of the different services that we offer. So as part of the Youth Opportunity Center, we provide information on employment opportunities, work experience, or what we also call internship opportunities. Access to computers with internet connection. We understand, the pandemic really hit our youth population extremely hard, where, technology was really a challenge because they may not have a computer or the equipment necessary to actually perform in school, or to do any other related, employment activities. So again, we do have all of the equipment, the technology available for them here so that they can actually utilize and facilitate that process. Throughout the pandemic as well, we actually opened up our center to allow youth to come in and actually do their homework here, access our internet, which was very helpful for many of our youth. We provide workshops. We provide work readiness training workshops. We provide resume assistance. We also provide career counseling. And there's also more, soft skills and training opportunities that are available to the community, especially when we know that there is a need out there. One of the biggest needs is also financial literacy, and we also do offer that on a monthly basis. In addition, we also have training, vocational training in a sense, and volunteer opportunities, and we connect them to any other community resources that they may need assistance with or access to. So I'll talk a little bit more of our most important current programs. One of them is the Youth at Work program. This is actually a paid youth work experience. It does provide individuals, youth between the ages of 14 to 24, 120 hours, and 20 hours is work readiness training, and 100 hours of actual paid work experience. We actually assist them in placing them with the local business or also with city departments or private companies in our community to actually, do an internship with them. And so there's various types of positions from administrative to, restaurant to hospitality to, even educational. So again, we work directly not only with the employers, but also with the individual to identify and select what they are really interested in, especially doing a little bit of career exploration with them. So again, this is more of a work experience opportunity or internship. It really guides them in the direction of, giving them that initial experience that they may not potentially have, and then giving them the opportunity to add it to the resume. So that they can actually have something on their resume, and then they're able to sort of start building that resume and eventually, either get employed by this actual employer, or if that doesn't work out for them because they may not have that position, then we can actually assist them in finding employment elsewhere. So again, for this one, there is eligibility requirements. The family must be receiving CalWorks, or they have to be a current or former foster youth, also homeless or justice involved, low income, pregnant or parenting individuals. So again, this is super our, amazing program. I can tell you that in my experience, I actually started through a program like this. And so had the opportunity to really do an internship with the City of Long Beach City Manager's Office. And then eventually got picked up for another summer internship with the City Manager's Office. And so it definitely does bring a lot of success, to an individual and to a youth. And so it is exciting. This is our most common, in a sense, year-round program that we have. Our next program, it's the Community Beautification Project. This program actually provides youth with 150 hours of paid work experience conducting work in the community, such as beach cleanups, working in local community gardens, restoring and improving local wetlands and urban areas. There's also a lot of beautification as to kind of art related as well as part of this grant. And this is really for youth ages 14 to 24. Resident of Long Beach or Signal Hill. There's not a lot of eligibility requirements for this. And we try to work with individuals who are really interested in working outdoors in a sense, and providing them that experience. What is amazing about this is that a lot of the times they work at the Willow Springs Park, which is off of like Willow in California. They sometimes don't understand or grasp the idea that, it's like, what am I going to be doing working there, right? Am I just going to be pulling out weeds? And it's like, no, it's like they get to learn more and get educated about, the variety different of plants that are out there, the importance of these plants in our community, right? In that specific area, they understand how to take better care of their environment in a sense. So it's more of an educational opportunity and that this project really brings to the youth in our community. Our next one is what we called our WIOA Youth Academy. Youth actually learned, this is more of an intense program and more long-term program, but youth learn how to really recognize, develop, and utilize their skill set. This program really provides overall comprehensive, case management. We provide them with industry recognized certifications. There's many youth that, want to do healthcare, right? And we try to provide them that initial step to go into healthcare, such as a certified nurse assistant. There's also like security guard. There is also truck driving, right? It's more if we think about a short-term vocational training where they earn their certificate. They are provided with, work experience up to 400 hours. They are provided with tons and tons of workshops plus professional development. And ultimately, our goal at the end of this is for this individual to go into full-time employment, enter post-secondary education, or go into the military. So again, this is more very intense, more long-term program. And this sort of programming, actually, we work with local-based, community-based organizations that actually help serve this population. And for this program, we have individuals that are 16 to 24, resident of Long Beach or Signal Hill. They have to be out of school, not attending any school, and one of the following circumstances, which is a school dropout, pregnant parenting, an offender, homeless, foster, or individual with a disability or low income. So again, this is more of an intense programming, but we have seen so much success in serving the youth that are really disconnected from the workforce. And this is a hard to serve population because we know that these individuals potentially are not, coming out, right? They're just staying home, not really understanding what's their next steps, what they want to do. But, eventually they do come out. We target, these individuals, and we are able to serve them in our community, get them back into the workforce, get them back into education, and kind of get them going back again so that, you know, they're self-sustainable. So as part of the WI Youth Academy, not only, like I said, there's different industry sectors that we cover for them to receive industry certified certifications. And again, as I mentioned, is healthcare, is transportation, such as like a truck driver. We also have IT. So if they're interested in sort of any sort of credentials related to IT, we can provide those. We also have like administrative or like Microsoft Office certifications. We have construction, and we also have security. In addition, as part of this Youth Academy, they are provided with supportive services. So we try to address every single, any sort of barrier that that individual may have. A lot of the times they may not have, you know, money for transportation, but we can provide that and help support them as part of the program. You know, sometimes they may need childcare. We actually can provide childcare for that individual. Sometimes they may need a laptop,
Yeah,
you know,
sorry,
to perform, you know.
Utilia, you have 2 minutes left, sorry.
Great, I'm almost done. So these are sort of the different types of services that we offer. Again, all of these services at free and no cost to the public. So with that said, I'll open it up for Q&A.
Is it possible if we do that to the end? Utilia, is that all right? We
Yeah,
have
I
one more
am done. I
presentation.
am done with my.
No, I mean, can we do the questions at the very end? Is that possible?
Yeah.
Thank you so much. And congratulations on the new baby
Thank you so much.
coming. And if you could get, stop your screen share, we can move. Right. And I do want to encourage everybody, please do write your questions in the chat so we can have some rigorous discussion afterwards. Thank you so very much. Last and certainly not least, we will be speaking with a team that will be discussing pathways to higher education for system impacted individuals, the Phoenix Scholars and Justice Scholars. Again, as you think up questions, please write them in the chat. I'd like to introduce the speakers, Dr. Adrian Huerta. Is that right? Huerta, sorry. Is it
the H is silent, but it's Huerta.
Huerta, thank you. Is a tenure track faculty in USC's Rossier School of Education. His research centers on boys and men of color, college access and equity, or more appropriately, inequity, and gang-associated populations in the educational pipeline. The next speaker is Ms. Sonia de la Torre, is the Dean of Student Equity at Long Beach City College. She is responsible for overseeing early college initiatives, dual enrollment, you have to catch your breath on all of these, first-year programs, matriculation services, Upward Bound, EOPS and CARE, Next Up, Guardian Scholars, Justice Scholars, and many equity initiatives. Wow. I'm surprised you have time to come and talk to us, so thank you for that. She has centered her work on serving a minoritized student population. Ms. Linda Nayeli Olmos is the manager of system incarcerated and undocumented students at Long Beach City College. Their aim is to help students reach their personal and academic goals. She has served community college students for 12 years and works on creating equitable pathways for underserved populations. And I also want to introduce Mr. Jose Ibarra, who is the new interim director of the Long Beach City College of Phoenix Scholars. Sorry. Mr. Ibarra informs his work with disadvantaged people by his personal experience growing up in similar communities and has spent his career working to help underrepresented youth. He has worked with Youth Alive, a violence prevention program, and also with the Mayor of LA's Office of Gang Reduction and Youth Development. He's very well positioned to do good work at LBCC. Please have at it.
Thank you so much, Carolyn, for the wonderful introduction. We have slightly reordered our presentation today. One of our colleagues, Linda, has a little bit of a hard stop at 7. So we're going to begin by sharing with you information about our Justice Scholars Program, and then we'll transition over to our Phoenix Scholars Program. So with that, let me go ahead and turn it over to Linda.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for having us. Again, my name is Linda Olmos. I am the manager of Systems Impacted Students. So I assist our formerly incarcerated individuals on campus, as well as our undocumented student population. And so with the Justice Scholars Program, we focus and are dedicated in creating an inclusive and just campus environment at LBCC. This was actually a grassroots movement led by our formerly incarcerated students at LBCC. And in 2019, we received the grant through the Chancellor's Office to focus on their educational needs. Right now, the JC program is designed really to help all students, regardless of their status or their age, from degree completion to transfer. All we require is that an individual identifies themselves as formerly incarcerated. Again, there are no restrictions and/or restrictions as far as unit goes, which is a little bit different for educational purposes. But again, we try to have our doors as open as possible and really meet the students where they're at. Next page. We focus on holistic and individualized assistance. So for our program, our students come from different ages, different backgrounds, really how long they've been incarcerated differs as well. So when they come to us, it's really about where are they at and what is it that they need. And so we help throughout the entire onboarding process, so matriculation, registration. We have a dedicated counselor that assists them in choosing their courses and applying for degrees and ultimately transferring to a university, which majority of our scholars, that is their goal, to transfer to a university to complete their bachelor's. And a lot of them are ready to and committed to continuing their education up to master's and even PhD programs. We offer tailored workshops and events for our scholars to mix and mingle together, but also get to know other individuals on campus, such as faculty and staff, because we need to ensure that other individuals are aware of our student populations and know how to best help them throughout their journey at LBCC. Most importantly, we provide direct program referrals. We are a small but mighty team, so we do partner with campus programs to ensure that our students are provided with housing, groceries, and other services such as with veterans, EOPS, foster youth, honors, Destino. So our students are across the campus using services to their best to make sure that they have all the support that they need to complete their goals. The benefits of JSP, we do have a book loan program, so that's free textbooks throughout the semester. As long as they're currently enrolled, our students do qualify for that. We have technology loan programs, so our students have access to laptops and free Wi-Fi. Again, as long as they are enrolled in a course, whether it's credit or non-credit, our students will receive the support that they need. And then free groceries and gift cards. Gift cards vary from food, gas, to other essential items that we necessarily might not provide directly, but then we can provide them with some funds when they are in need. Next. I want to emphasize that for the Justice Scholars Program, we are part of the Rising Scholars Network throughout the state of California. So as you can see on the map, these are all the different programs that work through the Chancellor's Office. So whether they're in-jail programs, prison programs, youth, federal, or campus programs like ourselves. And for JSP, it's unique in the sense that, again, we serve all ages. So our youngest are 18, 19. Our oldest is 76 years old. Some have served for a short time, and some have served for majority of their life. And so again, going back to that holistic approach, we really need to meet them where they're at, because some have some knowledge of technology and some have none, absolutely no knowledge of how to navigate technology, how to navigate transportation. But our average age is about in their 30s. we have year-round services and accept year-round, whereas some programs are very structured in when they need to start. Because our students are being released at varied points throughout the year, we need to ensure that our services are available regardless if they are released in the summer or in the fall or in the middle of a semester. Our students, again, have experienced wide range of experiences. So at LBCC, we serve credit and non-credit. Some students have been in jail, some have been in prison, some have a high school diploma or a GED, some have some college units. Again, going from months to decades of being incarcerated, and really the type of support, being an adult that is formerly incarcerated, the support systems are limited in the community and of course within their own course system. It really varies by student, but that's one of the greatest barriers that we see. Again, facing technology needs, having to support families is another barrier for our students because they do have to find some way to support themselves and their families. And of course, depending on what they've experienced while incarcerated or why they were incarcerated, their career experiences may be limited or have more barriers than someone that does not have a criminal record. And so again, that is the Justice Scholars Program. We do our best to meet the students where they're at and serve all students regardless of their experiences. I really appreciate your time. I will log on through my phone if there are some questions later on, but I will log off for a second. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Linda. I'll turn it over to Dr. Huerta, who will kick us off in talking about the Phoenix Scholars Program.
Okay, so good afternoon or good evening, everyone. My name is Adrian Huerta. I'm an assistant professor of education at USC. Can we advance to the next slide? Okay, so the Phoenix Scholars was recently awarded, or this new program, Phoenix Scholars, was awarded nearly $1 million grant from the U.S. Department of Education in December. So as we recently noted, we just hired our director, Jose, who will be overseeing the day-to-day operations. I will be the co-lead on this grant. I'm a national expert on college access pathways for gang-associated youth, and I just wanted to share a couple quick facts. So about 50% of gang-associated youth graduate from high school. That it is not due to intellectual abilities. It's often for students being pushed out from K through 12 schools for behavioral issues, academic issues, or interacting with non-supportive adults and educators in those schools. According to the California Healthy Kids Survey, there's about an estimated 50,000 gang-associated youth from 7th to 11th grade. And these are individuals that self-report gang membership. So this number can actually be a little bit higher than this 50,000, but this is one of the latest estimates from a peer-reviewed journal article. What we know is that about 5% of gang-associated individuals earn a college degree. So next slide, please. So with the development of the Phoenix Scholars Program, it's really about supporting 16 to 24-year-old gang-associated individuals or individuals that are gang impacted, a brother or a parent or another family member that's gang involved, and trying to help these young people not only gain access to higher education, but also be provided with an ecosystem of support through the program director, through college success coaches who are traditionally graduate students that help build up students' confidence. We will also provide mental health support because really at the end of the day, we're trying to build up the trust with these 16 to 24-year-olds because they've often been or experienced fractured relationships throughout schooling. So it's really a chance for us to build trust with them, but then also give them support systems so they can get an internship, develop a necessary career readiness skills, and then graduate with a degree, certificate, or some other type of credential from Long Beach City College. And this program is 100% free to the participants. Next slide, please. Oh, right here. I just want to make sure to highlight that it's going to be free tuition, free books. It's going to offer even stipends for clothing to help young people get access to professional clothing And we will be working with a number of community partners to place students in positions, in professional positions, so they can start seeing and getting access to role models, but also understand how to apply this degree to this profession. So with that, I will pass the mic or the stage to the next speaker.
Yeah, so I think I'll just add a couple of pieces. Thank you so much to Linda and Dr. Huerta for what they've shared.
For the other program. So
I'm getting a little bit of feedback. So just a
If you
couple.
aren't speaking, if you could please mute your mics, we'd be grateful.
this one is basically over now.
And so just a couple of pieces that I wanted to highlight is that our Phoenix Scholars program, much like our Justice Scholars program, is really intentional in being holistic, utilizing high touch services for our students and really focusing on that growth asset mindset in the ways that we are not only engaging with the students, but also in the provision of services. And then we have a couple of key partners that I would like to make sure that we acknowledge in our new program for the Phoenix Scholars. We partnered really closely with Centro Cha in the city of Long Beach Unified School District. And then we're also receiving support from the actual city of Long Beach. So again, we're really very excited about this program. And for us, I think at the end of the day, it's about being able to disrupt that school to prison pipeline to expand the type of diversion and intervention efforts that are available, and also making sure that we are instilling in the students that we're supporting the college going identity, and also making sure that early on that they experience a sense of belonging in higher education and academia. So what we have for you here just on our last slide is some information about where you can learn more about the Phoenix Scholars and Justice Scholars program. I'll stop sharing my screen and then we're happy to answer any questions.
And if I could just share one more point that I think Sonia and I both forgot, is that only one grant was awarded across the US, and USC and Long Beach City College received that grant. So we beat out multiple cities around the country to receive this award.
Thank you all so much. This information is really quite helpful for us to see what is available for folks in the area. So we so appreciate that. Marissa, would you start asking some of the questions?
Yes, some questions rolled into the chat, and Utilia also answered them in the chat, but I don't know if she would like to read her answers or I can read them, whatever's more convenient.
Which would you prefer?
I'm open.
Okay. From Alice, is there any industry that is really wanting to work with the youth?
Utilia?
Sorry, my apologies. Yes, we're currently seeing that the aerospace industry and hospitality is really looking for that the young talent, and they want to actually retain talent here in Long Beach. So those are the two top industry sectors.
From Lisa, a few questions. How do you advertise these programs? How many students do you serve at any given time? Do you ever have, quote, no openings at this time?
Yes, we advertise through social media, community-based organizations, LBUSD, DCFS, probation. So we partner with all these different types of organizations to help us recruit individuals for our programming. In a typical year, we serve about 1,500 youth. And that actually can increase, especially if we receive additional funding, or if we apply for any new grants.
And from Carolyn, is it possible to take multiple programs in your project?
Yes, an individual youth can actually be co-enrolled and co-enrolled in multiple youth programs, as long as they're not receiving the same service. But we know that different programmings offer different services. So, but yes, they can actually receive and go through multiple programs through that we have.
Another question came through. I believe this is for our last group of presenters. How do you get students at LBCC? Is there a connection with USC?
Yes, so we have a couple of different avenues by which we want to make this opportunity available to students. As I mentioned earlier, one of our key partners is Long Beach Unified. So early on, taking referrals based on some of what our partners might be seeing at the school sites. Word of mouth is also very powerful. Dr. Huerta often speaks about credible messengers. And so in partnering with Centro Cha, for example, and other community partners, also elevating the opportunity for referrals into our program as well. So we're envisioning a couple of different funnels specifically for Phoenix Scholars. And then for Justice Scholars, we work closely with LA County Probation Department and also just referrals from individuals.
That's all that's come through the chat right now. Any other questions?
I have a question, if I may. If that's okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
With the Phoenix Scholars, have most of the students actually been incarcerated before, or is this an intervention or is it a post-intervention?
I'm going to say it's going to be mixed because with the 16 to 18-year-olds, previous incarceration won't be a stipulation to be involved in that program. Their national data suggests that not all gang-associated youth have previous juvenile or adult incarceration. So I think we'll be looking just by a case by case, but for participation, it'll be self-reported individuals that self-identify and decide to participate. We're still calibrating a referral process with the school district and with Centro Cha to figure out what is the best process to get high school aged individuals and then 18 to 24-year-olds involved in the program. One of the things that we're trying to delicately walk forward is not having schools mislabel a student and then start mistreating that student because of the perception that they're gang involved. So we're trying to find a very delicate balance with that. So then that way educators don't intentionally push out that student from the school system. So that'll probably take a lot of conversations and possibly trainings for myself with the local school district and talking about some of the research that I've done over the last few years with this specific population.
So they may or may not have been incarcerated before, but there's no prohibition either way.
Right. And I think just the only piece I would add to that is that at Long Beach City College, we really try to elevate kind of going above and beyond and ensuring that we provide students access to all the support. So a student could, for example, be a part of the Justice Scholars Program and also Phoenix Scholars and our EOPS program. So we, as much as possible, we're really focused on creating, again, that very comprehensive ecosystem of support for our students.
And Sonia,
sorry,
go ahead.
No, finish. I'm going to ask another question.
Oh, I was going to say that one of the questions from Cheryl, I think, Sonia, you'll be able to answer about the largest group of individuals that you see go through the programs, like homeless, gang-associated, disabled, foster youth.
So for the Justice Scholars Program specifically, we do have students from different backgrounds. We have individuals who have been in the foster care system. We even have individuals who are veterans and have gone through very traumatic experiences, but there's no one specific larger population that our students identify as.
It looks like Jane has a question.
Yeah, I put it in the chat, but also I'm curious as to what it is that gets someone to come. Like, I can see, I was taught many levels of stuff, and I can see that people be introduced to it, and I hate to use the word hook, but is there something because it's not like, you know, I'm going to give you candy. So what's the, what convinces the students you're talking about to come?
Really? Oh, sorry, go ahead, Adrian.
Okay, yeah, of course. And with our program, with the Phoenix Scholars Program, we're launching this summer. So I think that's something that we're trying to figure out, like what would be the hook or the incentive. And another reason that we're partnering with Centro Cha is they'll serve as a credible messenger to say like, hey, this group at LBCC is doing really good work to help empower you, to get you like career ready, get you a college credential. Because in a lot of the research that I've done over the years with gang associated youth, the aspiration to go to college is there, but the support systems aren't. So often going to college or applying to college is like a gauntlet. You have to go through all these steps in order to get through. But if you don't have a reliable and consistent person to help you figure it out, then you won't go. Because a lot of the narrative in the news media or in just in conversation is college is really expensive. So that's a part that sticks in people's brain. So if we can help, you know, like correct that misnomer and say, you can go to LBCC for free, we offer all these different things to go, then hopefully that'll be the hook for a number of the 16 to 24-year-olds we'll be focusing on. Linda, please go ahead.
Yeah, I want to echo exactly what you said. They know that they want to continue their education and they've sought it out. It's that they lack the support in the community at home, having someone to actually say, you can do it, versus someone looking at them and saying, why are you here? You don't belong here. And so that's what a lot of our students face because of how they look. And so again, it's not about having a hook necessarily. It's that our students already have that want and need to continue their education. Many of them have actually started and completed degrees while incarcerated.
And then last, if I can share one last point, Jane, like,
go ahead and finish, Adrian. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. No problem at all. So in my most recent project that I'm doing, I've interviewed 40 former gang members who have gone on to earn BAs, masters, MDs, and PhDs. Preliminary analysis shows that throughout most of their lives, they were told that they weren't college material, that they were never going to be anything, that they'll never amount to anything by family members, by friends, by parents. So when we talk about developing a college-going identity, it's really about shedding all that negativity that they'd received their whole life to see themselves as students, to see themselves as capable of learning. And that takes a lot of healing, right? To trust an organization, like to trust an educational institution that in previous spaces through K through 12, you were told you're nothing. So automatically to come into higher ed and then be told you are somebody, you value, you have worth. That's why we're hiring a social worker to work with us to help people work through their stuff. Because, you know, as a previous speaker said, there's been a lot of trauma, a lot of violence, a lot of fractured relationships. So we can't automatically assume these young people are going to trust us. So that's why all of these programmatic decisions were very intentional to think about what do we need for the touch points of a student and how do we support them throughout their identity growth and development.
Jenny?
Yeah, thank you, Carolyn. Two things I want to bring up. First of all, on behalf of Long Beach City College, I want to give a shout out to Sonia and to Linda, who are our superstars, for them coming late at night. Well, it's not late, but you know what I mean. And I appreciate that very, very much. And then secondly, the college president, Dr. Munoz, and I are on the CCEJ board, California Conference for Equality and Justice. And one of our subcategories is restorative justice. And I would suggest that you reach out to that group because they deal with high school students who get in fights, who have difficulty, and they try to keep them out of the system, out of the juvenile justice system by restorative justice, working with them for them to understand that, you know, to solve their problems without punching each other and things like that. So, Carolyn, it's a wonderful program and thank you for inviting me, and now I'll be quiet.
you may speak as much as you want. I do have one more question, and then we'll see if anybody else does. Because this is a joint project, the Phoenix Scholars, because it's a joint project between the the City College and USC, will you guys have part of your planning to develop a pathway from the community college to USC?
I would say that would be a long-term goal that we would love to be able to do. And hopefully we can find funding to be able to do some type of pilot. So I think because we are the only awardee of this grant, this really gives us a chance to calibrate and create a really unique model that hopefully can be replicated at other community colleges. But yes, I think so. If Sonia and I can create that partnership and get investment from a philanthropy or USC or the Chancellor's Office, that would be an amazing testament to the value of this program, to be able to get more individuals to get, you know, associate degrees and then transfer to USC. Like, that would be amazing.
It certainly would. Were there any other questions, Marissa?
No, nothing else in the chat.
Okay, anything else, folks? Do you want to, I'm looking for hands up. I don't see any more. So oh,
I think Alice has a question.
Okay, Alice.
Do you have a
Just a
question?
brief question, Adrian. First of all, you all are wonderful. I love hearing about the different resources like this. The question was just asked about a pathway from Long Beach City College to USC. Not to reduce the program goals that you all have, but is it possible if we can't get the youth to SC, maybe we could get them to one of the Cal State, Long Beach or Dominguez? And that's just two I'm just throwing out there, so that we don't lose them because we don't have anything between City College and big SC. And I'm just asking.
Alice, absolutely. If I may, and then Linda can follow up. One of the key components for us is educational planning. So early on in the onboarding process, we have a dedicated team of counselors, academic counselors that will be working with our scholars to do some career exploration, major clarification. And part of that process early on is identifying all of the courses that they need to achieve whatever goal they have in mind. And so for us, that's inclusive of certificates, associate's degree, and transfer. A huge number of our students, and Linda alluded to this earlier, have aspirations to transfer, and we facilitate that process early on, and we make sure that they have a clear plan to do that at Long Beach City College.
I just wanted to add that for the Justice Scholars Program, and of course, in future collaboration with Phoenix Scholars, we do interact with Cal State Long Beach, their Project Rebound, and with UCI's underground scholars, as well as UCLA's underground scholars. So our students are already getting connected to the higher ed or the four-year institutions. So we want to make sure that they're exposed to those early on.
Thank you. And Sonia has added into the chat, if you want to take a look, UCLA, UCI, and CSULB.
Thank you.
Okay, are there any other questions? Well, thank you to all of the speakers and the great information that you have sent us. And thank you again to the committee, because you guys pulled this off. And also thank you to all of the people who attended, because we do appreciate you sharing this information with us and help us make the community beneficial to all of us. Thanks very much. Good night now.
Everyone have a good night. Thank you.
Good night.